Join me as we talk all things true crime.
Made contact and shattered.
The missing 4-year-old. The parents have called in and that the mother has went through a wall, came home, now they can't find her.
Chad, where are Lori's kids? They've been missing for 4 months. You have nothing to say?
4 were stabbed multiple times and were likely asleep during the attack. Some had defensive wounds.
Most of them had just like one that was the lethal stab wound.
Oh, what a tangled web we weave. Once I told a lie, and I told my family, I had to keep lying.
What's your, is it deemed?
We haven't cleared anybody.
Hi, everybody. Thank you so much for being here for another ATS News live stream. It's good to see everybody in chat. I'm sure my moderators will let me know how the sound is before we get started. But hi, Adrian, Tony, Pointer Lover, Cindy, Johnny's here, Dustin. Hey, how's everybody doing? So tonight we'll be doing a little bit of update on Sarah Boone and the status of her trial. Hey, Melly. And just some new information that has come out. Thank you very much, Johnny. All right, let me switch my screens up and get into it. Hi, Eddie T. So I'm sure you guys have heard about the hurricane in Florida. Many thoughts and prayers for everybody down in Florida right now. Not only is it affecting a lot of people that, you know, are subscribers and fellow community members, but it's affecting the Sarah Boone trial. And because of the hurricane, they postponed the jury selection until Monday. So we'll start there. Jury selection will begin next Monday for a woman accused of murdering her longtime boyfriend by zipping him up inside a suitcase and leaving him to die. Sarah Boone is charged with second-degree murder for the death of George Torres Jr., who was found inside a suitcase inside the couple's shared apartment on Monday, February 24th, 2020. In a series of interviews at the scene and the next day at the Orange County Sheriff's Office, Boone told investigators that Torres had willingly got into the suitcase while the couple was playing hide and seek after a night of drinking. Prosecutors say key evidence in their case includes 2 videos found on Boone's phone that were recorded while Torres was in the suitcase. The videos feature the victim begging to be let out and Boone laughing and taunting him. Boone told police she went up to bed shortly after the videos were taken and fell asleep, leaving Torres in the luggage. Boone is being represented at trial by James Owens, her 9th attorney in the case, who volunteered to step in as her lawyer after Judge Michael Kranick ruled she had forfeited her right to an attorney. And this lawyer, by the way, is expecting her to pay him back at some point, some way, shape, or form. The ruling followed 8 other attorneys withdrawing from this case, citing Boone's behavior as an issue. Boone has been vocal about her own defense, writing a number of letters to the judge and even creating advertisement for a lawyer that eventually caught Owens' attention. Owens has filed an intent to use battered spouse syndrome as a defense in the case, citing years of DV and arrests in Boone and Torres' relationship. So they are allowed to use that defense. And it says on October 7th, Boone rejected a plea deal. So this was the big news this week. Last week, they tried to get her to be allowed to have hair and makeup done before the jury sees her. And the judge said, no, absolutely not. That's contraband. Like, we just don't have the means to let that happen. This week, she rejected a plea deal from prosecutors that would have sent her to prison for 15 years for pleading guilty to manslaughter. If she's found guilty, Boone faces a minimum of 22 and a half years in prison and a potential life sentence. So not only was she handed this sweet deal, you got to understand she would have gotten time served. She's been in there since 2020. So time served off of the 15 years. And she says no. It's unbelievable. And it's just a true testament to her just thinking that she knows everything, that she can win this. Hold on. Somebody even threw out the idea in my Facebook group that they're wondering if she has opposition syndrome and that she will argue over anything and everything. And that's why I titled this that Sarah Boone is her own worst enemy. Oppositional defiant disorder is the correct terminology. Pardon me. It's a behavioral disorder that involves a pattern of defiant, hostile, and argumentative behaviors. I just think not only is she narcissistic, but there's got to be other underlying disorders going on as well. But, you are given this deal opportunity and you say no. Jury selection was initially set to begin this Monday, yesterday. But the hurricane in the forecast prompted the courthouse to close proceedings to postpone until the 14th. Now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's just play some court TV clips regarding the plea deal and how she turned it down. And then I don't know if you guys, so what we've done in our little pre-trial, and if you haven't hit that like button, please do so right now, guys. It's greatly appreciated. What we have gone through for our little pre-trial brush up on the case before the trial starts, this month, was go through the body cam footage, the 911 call, her interrogation we went through. What we did not go through was this audio recorded interview in a police car with Sarah. So after we play some little updated clips from court TV to kind of get us up to speed on this whole situation of her turning the plea deal down this week, we'll just go into listening and reacting to this interview in the car. So anyone in chat, if you guys have heard the interview in the car, let me know. Put a 1 in chat if you've heard the car interview. It's just audio, doesn't show her on camera. I haven't listened to it fully, so that's why I'm kind of excited to do a little listen and react with you guys. So let's start here.
Going to be back in court next Monday after jury selection was delayed due to Hurricane Milton. Court TV's Kelly Craft is in Orlando with the latest. Good morning, Julie. The murder trial for Sarah Boone, the woman accused of suffocating her boyfriend in a suitcase, is delayed yet again, this time because of a hurricane. The mayor of Orlando has declared a state of emergency. The judge addressed the court this morning.
Due to the potential storm and the ramifications of it, the court is going to postpone jury selection in this matter till Monday, October 14th at 9 a.m.
Jurors were sent home and told to return on Monday. Another big development in this case, Sarah Boone has rejected a plea offer from the state. Let's listen to the judge discuss this with her.
15 years to a lesser included charge of manslaughter. Ma'am, understanding the state's offer, do you wish to accept or reject the state's offer to resolve this case?
Reject.
And you heard.
And I'm wondering, how long did she have? And hello, Debbie Fox, Sprinkled Donut, Sub Rosa, everyone else who's joined, KPM, Mac J, good to see you guys. I believe she is Mac J. I believe that was approved. They wanted her interrogation video thrown out. Unfortunately, the judge said, no, we're not going to do that. So they lost that motion. How long do you think she was given to think about this plea deal? Absolutely insane. Why would you not just plea? You've already served how many years already? I just can't even believe it. She never even thought about it. Seems so. She should have taken the plea deal. Oh my. Who in chat would have taken the plea deal? Just say me. Me or I would. Like, come on now. Hey, Jay and Scottish Queen. Good to see you. Hi, Earl, Jacqueline. She is ridiculous. It's just it's like, is there anybody home? Like, you just want to knock on her head.
Sarah Boone there rejecting that plea offer in which she would serve 15 years behind bars, pleading guilty to manslaughter. But now the trial will proceed on Monday, barring any other unforeseen circumstances. Julie, that's the latest from here in Orlando. Back to you.
All right, our thanks to Kelly Craft for that update. Now let's dig in some more because we got some other news on Monday, not just the delay of the trial, but a motion filed by the prosecution. They are still trying to stop Sarah Boone from entering in that battered spouse syndrome defense as part of an overall self-defense, affirmative defense case. Let's bring in our guest now, the Director of Prosecution Projects at Florida International University and former homicide prosecutor Melba Pearson, and Court TV digital producer, and we like to say our resident expert on the Sarah Boone case, Lauren Silver. Good morning to you, ladies. All right, Lauren, would you start us off? You saw this motion hit the docket on Monday. You dug through it, the sum and substance of it. Would you kind of walk us through what the state is saying, please?
So the large part of it is that the state is requesting that the judge to review the use of battered spouse, and also perhaps because the judge has already said that battered spouse can come in as a defense, say, well, at least Sarah will have to take this stand to set some foundation before introducing any kind of evidence, any kind of past bad acts. What's really interesting about this motion is it was written after the state deposed the expert for Sarah Boone. These are the forensic psychologists who are going to testify to battered spouse. And so we're learning a lot more about what she said happened that night, allegedly to the doctors, I would assume, including that she allegedly admitted to beating the suitcase with a baseball bat once George was inside of it, which is not something we knew before.
Right, Lauren, right. Let's talk more about some of these details. So I understand that he was able to poke his fingers out of a little opening in the zipper, and she is said to have hit his hand with a wooden bat in the house.
So not only does she push him down the stairs in the suitcase, allegedly, she's hitting him with a bat. And remember in her interrogation video, they're talking about the wounds that the medical examiner seen on him, and she just plays completely dumb. Like, I don't know. I didn't touch him. I didn't touch him. And she's all like, yeah, you can go underneath my fingernails. And remember the forensic team came in and took samples underneath her nails, and she's like cleaning her nails as they're like getting ready to walk in with everything. It's just unreal. So much suffering. And yeah, Courtney, I agree. She literally doesn't think it's her fault. This is just what she admits to. I'm sure there's more to this story. Oh my gosh, yeah. Absolutely. If she's admitting to this horrific part of it, you know there's so many aspects of that night that she's just still, keeping close to herself and would never admit to anybody.
Yes. So apparently he chose to get in the suitcase. Again, this was a game of hide and seek. The prosecutors did suggest that perhaps Sarah misunderstood the rules of hide and seek, but he got into the suitcase. She helped zip him in. He had these fingers that were able to stick out. And at some point he began to complain that he couldn't breathe. And this enraged her because prosecutors say it reminded her of when she felt she couldn't breathe because of his behaviors. And so she flipped the suitcase over, and then she hit his hands in the suitcase with a baseball bat.
Wow. Wow.
See, I personally don't think that she flipped the suitcase over. Like, I think that it flipped over because she pushed him down the stairs, and that's how it landed. Obviously, we don't have any proof. Only her and George know exactly what happened. But I'm just really not under the assumption that she pushed the suitcase over. Jay agrees. Take responsibility, lady. Stop lying. She will never. She is, I think, the typical narcissistic personality. They can do no wrong. They don't admit fault. They don't even see faults in themselves. Like, it's like something that they just cannot even see. You could spell it out to them a million ways, and they refuse to kind of accept it. Yeah, I'm still stuck on that too. Molly says, I'm still stuck on how he ended up in the suitcase. And there's been two different things that have been said. She says he willingly got into it. And then she's also stated that she put him in it. So it's been said numerous ways throughout the 911 call and her interrogation, the body camera. I mean, it's all over the place. He didn't zip himself in, and how is that hide and seek? It just makes no sense. Addicted to art and crime, like, we go around with the same questions in this case. Like, how is that hide and seek? Yes, he had a split lip. Exactly, Debbie. Crazy, crazy. And where is the bat? Wonder if any of that will ever be mentioned, like in the evidence log or anything like that. What level of psychosis is involved with this woman? She is far more dangerous than we could imagine. Just because she's okay with her behavior and doesn't feel it's wrong. And you know what? Let her say no to that plea deal, because I really think a jury of 12 people are going to find her guilty. I really do. Like, I think that she thinks that if she can use this battered wife syndrome, that she stands a chance to garnish sympathy from at least one juror. And I've seen in chats people say, I'm really afraid that she's going to get away with this. I just don't know. I really don't think so, because of how damning everything kind of looks. But especially those videos on her phone. What do you guys think? It's not like anyone's going to want to get pushed downstairs in a suitcase to test. True. How did these injuries come about? Can we reenact this? She will never take accountability. She probably demands an apology. Absolutely. His family calls me the white blue-eyed dragon, or what was that? She's the victim, right? Adrian says no way. Yeah, the videos are enough. His injuries are pretty damning too. I think so too, Pointer Lover. Like, I don't foresee 12 people. And she's just not, I mean, looking at her, even with makeup on, like her lawyer was hoping for, makeup's not going to help her. It's her demeanor. It's her facial expressions. It's just this like smug, like, I know better than you, and you don't know what you're talking about. And it was unintentional. It's like the jury's going to pick up on that. And thank you, 27 months, Pointer Lover. That's awesome. I appreciate you very much. I don't think so either, Natasha. Like, there's just no way. She pushed the suitcase down the stairs. Now she wants to play the victim, right? He's begging for help. What is, excuse me, what is the jury going to say when they watch those videos? She's done. Unless it was playful until it wasn't. The baby voice irks you. The first time I heard her voice, I was like, this doesn't match like how I thought her voice would sound. It was so like, it didn't fit. Hi, Marco. No malicious intent. You think manslaughter? Both were drunk. True. Right, you can't put lipstick on a pig. Exactly. If it was a game they played before and he survived and all of a sudden doesn't, it's suspicious. Agree. Oh yeah, Marco, we've had numerous live streams on her. You'd have to go back and see. We even covered clips and photos of her from way before the crime as well. Yeah, I think so too, Dustin. Like, I don't think there's anyone who's going to watch that video. I've never seen anybody defend Sarah. I might see a troll here and there with no picture on their YouTube name, and they say stuff like, she's innocent, or we're not saying that George was a saint, right? But it's just so damning, those videos. If somebody's asking you for help and you say F you and they end up dying, I mean, how do you get around that? It was pure malice. I just don't know if murder was the intention. That's true, AJ. That's something that I think a lot of people are kind of, Exactly. He's not the one on trial.
Lauren, this is brand new information in that motion. How about it? It's been since 2020, we've been talking about this case. The other thing in that motion we learned is the victim was only 103 pounds. I always wondered, how could he get inside the suitcase? That's the question I probably get the most from people, because you think, how could a man fit in a suitcase? I have no idea. Didn't see him get in. He was very small, 103 pounds. Okay, so prosecutors are arguing that as a matter of law, what Sarah Boone told the doctors who evaluated her doesn't entitle her to get this evidence in, evidence of the prior violence, evidence that she was afraid of him, all of that. Melba Pearson, let's talk about this legally. The judge gets presented with this. Now he's got some more time to consider it, as you know, because of Hurricane Milton. Tell me, how do you think the court should assess this motion?
Yeah, so good morning, Julie and Lauren. And this is a very tough situation because you don't want to have, the judge doesn't want to make a decision that's going to end up being appealable once, let's say, a conviction is attained in this case. If he makes the wrong decision and excludes that evidence, then that could be grounds for an overturning of the conviction at the appellate level if there's a conviction. However, there has to be something to substantiate these claims. She can't just say battered spouse syndrome and there is no documentation, there's no witnesses, there's no other, hospital records, something to document that she had been abused in the past. And usually when it comes to battered spouse syndrome, it's a matter of you got triggered by something the person did. It does not necessarily have to be the person beat me.
And what could she possibly have been laughing at that moment on the left when it shows the side by side? Now, these are moments the jury are not going to like to see if she does stuff like this during the trial. Just watch her. They're not going to like her. I'm telling you. They're really just not going to like her vibe like we all don't.
Syndrome, it's a matter of you got triggered by something the person did. It does not necessarily have to be the person beat me in this instant and I responded in kind. And that was and then I'm using the defense of battered spouse syndrome. That's one scenario, but that's not the only scenario. It could be a word track. So let's say, despite the victim being 103 pounds, giving the defendant the benefit of the doubt, which I'm not saying I believe her story, but giving her the benefit of the doubt, it is possible for a smaller man to be abusive to a larger person just because of the dynamics of domestic violence, right? So the size alone isn't necessarily going to be the issue. But again, the way that she went about it, this was luring him as part of a game into a suitcase and then not letting him out, filming it, torturing him, beating him. None of that is consistent with how most people react under the context of the battered spouse syndrome. So the extra steps she took looked more like torture than I was in fear for my life, therefore I reacted in this manner, as well as the statement she made to law enforcement where she was like, oh, it's a game. I can't believe, oh my gosh, not, oh my gosh, I was afraid he was going to hurt me, therefore I had to act in this manner. So I think there's going to be some very clear guardrails that the judge is going to put in place, and she's not going to be able to present a treasure trove of evidence around the battered spouse syndrome. That's not going to happen.
Right. It's such a great legal explainer for us, Melba. Thank you for all of that. I want to share a clip. You both saw this when Sarah Boone decided to testify at her suppression hearing. And she let it out that she was still intoxicated at the time of that interview. I think her logic was that she wanted to make it seem, oh, she was under duress, coerced, not in the right frame of mind. But this might also affect the defense. Melba, I want to come to you on the other side. Let's take a look.
I was in shock. I was traumatized by the situation, and then trying to focus on everything that was going on at my home. I was hungover. I was still, I believe, intoxicated to a degree.
Okay, so Melba, you've already taught us that. So when we think about battered spouse syndrome coming in Florida, we're thinking about a self-defense case where the decedent would be doing something to threaten or, as you said, cause something to be triggered in the victim where they would, oh my gosh, feel the need to defend themselves. Here, this is an accident. So the state is saying, look, you can't assert it here. This was accidental. You've said it was accidental before. How does the intoxication get woven into this picture, Melba? Because she did make a lot of statements. And in the motion, the state is very concerned about her wanting to change her story. And Lauren, I'm going to come to you on that in a second. But Melba, how do you think the intox plays in for both sides, please?
I think the intoxication is going to be critical in terms of state of mind, because again, it's not to say you can't be in fear when you're intoxicated, but the extra steps that she took and the way she behaved and the way she told the story afterwards definitely negates anything in terms of her being fear. And the prosecution is going to use that as in this was a drinking game. They both consensually entered into this. There was no abuse. And then she just went to the next level, became cruel, and she was the one abusive, not necessarily a victim.
Right.
And like Tony said, and like we've stated, I mean, drunk drivers, you still are held accountable if you end up driving drunk and killing somebody. You can't just say, well, I was drinking. You know, there's no excuse. Drugs and alcohol are no excuse to end someone's life. And it's not a defense at all. I don't know. I'm kind of surprised, or maybe it wouldn't have helped her anyways, kind of like they're saying. But at no point did any of her lawyers suggest anything about like a drug rehab facility for her drinking, or I don't know. I guess it wouldn't have helped her because it's just not a defense in this situation, probably. And yeah, Marco, she is setting herself up for being her own worst witness. And hello, Aries. Good to see you. Yeah, she did gain some weight in jail. A lot of people do, right? If she was blacked out drunk to not remember and fall asleep, how was she able to record and sound understandable in the video? Right. And you know what else that she had stated to Melly that I always thought was kind of damning is she says something in her interrogation interview where she's like, I just went upstairs and laid there, and the plan was for him to come up there, or something along the lines of like she thought that he was going to follow her up there eventually. So you can remember enough of you laying in bed and thinking that he was going to come up there. So you obviously weren't blackout drunk, or you wouldn't be remembering what you were thinking at the time that you were laying down. Does that make sense, you guys? Like, it's like she acknowledged that she thought that he would go up there, so she wasn't that drunk. It's not like she said, like, I laid down and I barely remember even hitting my pillow, and next thing I know, it's the morning and he never made it up there. Like, she says something along the lines that, yeah, she laid down and assumed he would come up at some point. So she was obviously coherent enough to have some sort of thought process in that sense. And she used it as her defense at the time, but it's going to be used against her because it's like, okay, so you were blackout drunk. You thought that he was going to, you admitted to thinking he was going to get up there. You remembered thinking that. Will she testify in narration form like Robert? Yeah, I don't know. After hearing some of her letters, I don't know if I can stomach to hear her testify. I wonder if she deleted the video and they found it. I wonder that too. Selective memory. Right. How convenient.
Melba, thank you for that. Lauren, would you remind us, please, the statements that Sarah Boone made? We know in this motion, the state kind of notes the ever-evolving stories, and they hint at, by the way, Judge, she's probably going to change it again when she testifies. Would you kind of take us back and refresh us, please?
Yeah, I mean, when this started, this was I don't know how this happened. I don't think he has a medical condition. This was just a game. I went to bed. And then it became, I never imagined this could happen. This was clearly an accident, and I'll never drink again. I mean, how could this have happened? I never could have expected this. And when detectives pushed back on that, it quickly began to morph into I was scared. What if I let him out? Then he could hurt me, which is a very different story than I went to bed and I thought he could get himself out.
Exactly.
It becomes an active decision rather than a passive one.
Mm-hmm. Right, Lauren. In the prosecution notes that in the motion, Mel was nodding. It's like there was a change, and you noted this as well legally, Mel. But at first it was a game, and then it became, "Oh, I'm mad. I don't want you to breathe. Just like I feel like I can't breathe when you cheat on me." She's taunting him in the video, saying something to that effect. We'll leave it here.
And hello, Roxanne. Good to see you. So let's play another segment about her turning the plea deal down. This one was from yesterday on Court TV when the news was breaking. So we'll hear their expert opinion here as well. And like somebody stated in chat, like the expert is basically saying exactly what we have said. So Jacqueline, apparently Lori had makeup. It was like jail makeup. Like she used crushed up Cheetos and Vaseline for her lips and eyelashes. So there's things that they can access as prisoners that the girls end up being creative with. Her hair was also done by some process in jail that girls use and where they curl it. So that's how that was done. Ruby Frankie, I don't know. I never noticed her in makeup or whatever, but I believe you. I know. Absolutely bonkers not to take the deal. But isn't that her? Isn't that just her, though? She's bonkers. He was approved to wear makeup over his tattoos. I don't know if the stipulations were different because his tattoos, I don't know what his lawyer used as an excuse to kind of get that approved or whatever. But he turned that down, didn't want that. But yeah. Yeah, and some commissary has limited makeup. And thank you, Melly, for gifting 1 membership, and welcome to that member.
Where a jury selection has now been continued until next week in the highly anticipated suitcase murder trial. The defendant there, Sarah Boone, she's accused of killing her boyfriend by zipping him up in a suitcase and leaving him there to die. Boone told investigators that she and George Torres had been playing a game of hide and seek and that she assumed that he could get out of that suitcase. So there have been a lot of breaking news details today. Let's bring in live now from Orlando, Florida, Court TV legal correspondent Kelly Craft with us there on the ground. Kelly, so many changes today. What can you tell us about these latest developments?
Well, hi there, Julia. Yes, a lot of big developments here in Orlando for this case. We have been anxiously awaiting the start of this murder case against Sarah Boone. But today, another delay. So in the past, we've had lots of delays because Sarah Boone was going through so many attorneys filing motions and doing many other things that this trial has been postponed many, many times. And today, another postponement because of the impending storm. A state of emergency has been issued for this area because the hurricane is expected to hit. So today, the chief judge presiding over this case said that jury selection, which was supposed to take place this morning, now will not take place until next Monday. Let's go ahead and listen to the chief judge as he made this announcement today in court.
Due to the potential storm and the ramifications of it, the court is going to postpone jury selection in this matter till Monday, October 14th at 9 a.m.
So we have a huge crew here from Court TV on the ground, Julia. We were waiting for this case to begin. But of course, over the last few days, we heard about this other hurricane that is expected to hit here and around the Orlando area. And so then you heard the chief judge there saying that things are going to be postponed until next Monday.
No, it's good to take those precautions, but certainly that does shake things up there inside the courtroom. And speaking of shakeups, we learned on the record today something about a deal that was offered to Sarah Boone. What can you tell us about that?
There certainly was the plea offer made to Sarah Boone this morning before things got going. And of course, Julie, if she would have accepted this, then things would have been more or less over for Sarah Boone in regards to what the impending trial was going to be, et cetera. So she was offered a plea deal of 15 years for manslaughter. She's already been behind bars for several years. So then she would have had to serve the rest of this term, but she rejected that. Let's go ahead and listen to some sound from this morning regarding that plea offer.
Do you understand that if we were to proceed to trial in this matter, and if you were found guilty, the lowest permissible sentence that the court could levy in this case would be 22.5 years in the Department of Corrections? Do you understand that? Do you understand the state's offer to resolve this case? Okay.
But do you really understand it, Sarah? Because I've not seen a single person in this chat that would agree with you by turning that deal down.
$15 years to a lesser included charge of manslaughter, with the understanding that she would serve 85% of that sentence.
That's up to the department and her behavior, but that is my understanding.
Ma'am, understanding the state's offer, do you wish to accept or reject the state's offer to resolve this case?
Reject. Her lawyer looks pissed. She probably thinks the state is worried they will lose. Right. She's like, oh, they're just offering me this deal because they're worried that I'm going to be seen as this innocent victim like I am. Yeah, she thinks she's innocent. Sarah has no remorse. Right. I agree. Unless by some turn of events she's acquitted. Right. Will there be one juror on that jury that will say, oh, I feel bad for her. Look at her. She's such a nice lady. After hearing those videos on her phone.
So you heard Sarah Boone there rejecting the state's offer of 15 years to manslaughter. So Sarah Boone did not want that. She is going to move forward with this trial with her attorney. And then, of course, if she is found guilty of second-degree murder, you heard the judge there talk about it, she would be sentenced up to 22 and a half years behind bars for the second-degree murder offense if jurors found her guilty of that one, Julia. So some big developments here in Orlando in spite of the trial being postponed, the start of it till next week. But that plea deal, and then, of course, now jury selection, not till Monday.
All right, Kelly Craft, thank you for the latest there from Orlando. We'll let you go. Let's bring in our guest for this hour. Marjorie Mesdor is with us. Marjorie, trial attorney in New York City. Marjorie, a lot happened today in this case. We were waiting for opening statements to be starting this week, jury selection to start today. But let me first just ask you, before we talk about that deal that we heard the defendant reject, jury selection being postponed for a week. I mean, we were expecting that there could be some issues with the weather in that area. And Wednesday, we knew that the courthouse was going to be closed, but now the entire week so that things can start up on Monday.
Well, jury selection being postponed due to weather reasons is going to be for the safety of all jurors, and including all the court and staff, right? So that in and of itself, it happening now rather than in the middle of the trial while somebody's on the stand or while a portion of the jury has already been selected, just has a way of just really disturbing the momentum and the flow of the trial in that regard. So it happening now is actually a bit, serendipitous for all sides, so that they know that when they start, they'll be able.
I'm not sure what that backroom noise is. I think it's the guest who's on panel somewhere where she's at. You can hear people talking. Sorry about that. I didn't realize that.
Able to continue to the end.
So the other news that I really want to get your opinion on, this has to do with this plea deal. And we've known that there was a plea deal in this case for a long time. We didn't know the exact numbers because she's had so many attorneys. She's had, this is her 9th attorney, so 8 other attorneys that things just simply didn't work out with for one reason or the other. And now we know on the record that the state was offering her a plea deal of 15 years. 85% of that is what is typically the standard that she would have to serve. If you do the numbers, it looks like it would be closer to about 10 years. But then if you subtract the 4, I mean, she could be looking at a much lower sentence because she's already served 4 years. In looking at Sarah Boone sitting there and her attorney sitting next to her, what do you think the dynamic is in terms of who wants this deal and who is saying it's a good idea and who's saying absolutely not?
I think that it's very clear that it's Sarah Boone who is saying that this is not a good idea. In her rejection of the plea deal, she almost seemed defiant. I think that any attorney looking at the facts of this case, looking at the evidence that is amounting against her, as well as how much time she will actually end up serving, is going to encourage the client at least to give this some deep, thoughtful consideration. We also have the history of the fact that this is her 9th attorney. So having gone through 8 attorneys, it may be that she is taking a very strong stance that she will see this through verdict.
Yeah, I think that a lot of her lawyers probably try to guide her in certain directions or talk her through some plea agreement, and she just would not get on board with them the whole way. Scottish Queen says she seriously thinks she has the upper hand in those videos, then victim blaming isn't going to go well. I wonder if she knows how the public sees her. Maybe if she did, she would have taken the deal. She knows that YouTube and everybody is like going over her case and everything because she has like complained about it to the judge in letters and stuff. And she tried to get the media to be banned from certain proceedings leading up to her trial because she is aware of what people are kind of saying and picking apart from her. But I agree, her kind of victim blaming is not going to go well. I'm sure they're going to have George's family, somebody close to them, testify and talk about what Sarah was like and what they know about her, which you guys know is not going to look good to the jury. For her in front of the jury. Yeah, she's not going to agree with anyone. And yet she was scrambling when she was getting ready to represent herself, scrambling. And like that article said that we read earlier, she put out that advertisement for, and this lawyer found it. So she was desperate. So she's desperate, gets a lawyer, gets a good deal on the table, and still thinks that she will be seen as the victim here and acquitted. Right. What juror is going to see that video of George begging for his life and her saying F you and think, let's let this girl back out on the street? Straight up idiot. I agree.
Regardless of what happens in the interim. So I think that if we're going to be looking at who wants this deal and who doesn't, if I had to place my bets, I would say that the attorney probably wants it, or at least wants it to be seriously considered. And it is Ms. Boone who flatly wants to reject it.
Yeah, something about just seeing her sitting there in the courtroom, it does seem like she's very much determined and is in control of her defense, which is likely what she wanted from the very beginning and couldn't get that from those 8 attorneys. We're going to get to a break, and perhaps in a week we'll learn more from Sarah Boone about what she wants to do with that deal because, again, jury selection postponed due to weather.
All right, so now that we've gotten the updates about the plea deal rejection and other things in the case, jury selection next Monday, let's go into sharing this audio interview. We have not broken it down yet on this channel. It is from Designing My Life. I know other channels have it on their channel as well. So I'm going to link this in the description box and we'll get right into it.
57 hours. This is in reference to Orange County case number 20-017904. I'm currently located in my unmarked vehicle out in front of 4748 France Lane, apartment number 3 in Winter Park at the Tealwood Park Apartments. And also in the car with me is my partner,
Detective Scott Lowen.
And in the front seat is, can you state your name, ma'am?
Sarah Boone,
Okay, and your birthday?
10-10-77.
Okay. So, Sarah, I know you have talked to some deputies. I know we had a very brief conversation just to reiterate what you told that deputy. But like I was explaining, I would like to get a more further understanding of what happened last night and ask you more detailed questions. I am going to read you your rights, but it's just because that's how we do things. Okay. So you do have the right to remain silent. Okay. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Anything you say may be used against you in court. You have the right to talk to a lawyer before and during questioning without charge. If you cannot afford a lawyer and want one can be provided for you before questioning without charge. Has anyone threatened you or promised you anything to get you to talk to me?
No.
Do you understand what I just read you?
Yes.
Okay. So last night you said that you and your boyfriend George were here at your residence and didn't really leave that day. You said that he went to the store to buy cigarettes.
Yes.
What time was that around? If you recall. Was it light out still, dark out?
Yes, it was light out still.
It was still light out. Okay. But he's the only person that left and he came back.
Yes.
I'm assuming. Okay.
It's right down the street.
It's down the street. Okay. And tell me what you guys were doing next. Like what was happening?
We had a bottle of wine. We painted, we drew, we did puzzles.
Do you remember what wine you guys were drinking?
What is Woodbridge Chardonnay.
Okay.
The bottles are in the trash.
Okay. Chardonnay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And do you...
And notice how she says bottles as plural, but I swear in her interview, either the body cam or interrogation, she said it was one bottle of wine.
Do you remember around like what time this was that you guys were sharing the bottle of wine, painting, doing puzzles?
I'm going to say 4-ish.
Okay. And was this before he went to the store or after?
I'm sorry?
Had he already gotten home from the store at this point to buy the cigarettes?
Yes.
Okay. So it was around 4 p.m.
ish
that you realized, and you guys were doing
puzzles and art.
Okay.
Listening to music, enjoying each other's company.
And all downstairs, upstairs? Where did you guys? Downstairs. Okay.
We usually sit on the back porch because we smoke. You're not allowed to smoke inside, so.
Okay. And who was here last night? Was it just the two of you?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Okay. No one ever came over at any point?
No.
No. Okay.
We called his daughters on FaceTime.
Okay.
We were just literally just enjoying one another's company.
Okay. And you guys share the phone that you have,
yes.
Correct? Okay. And the phone's located in there, I think, in the kitchen area. Yeah. Okay. So tell me what happens next. So you're painting. You guys are doing this puzzle together. You obviously finished the bottle of wine.
Yes.
Did you have 1 or 2 bottles of wine?
Well, we had one previously that was maybe not even half full.
Okay.
But then.
So you finished that one and then you had the full one.
Yes.
Okay.
See, even that little element has changed in her story from detective to detective, because she was adamant that it was one bottle of wine to another detective. And I believe she said at one point that they turned the music off. So we'll see if she mentions any of that.
And sorry, what was the question?
Just what did you guys do next after the bottle of wine? Like after you guys finished the wine?
We had the bottle of wine while we were doing our arts and crafts.
Mm-hmm.
And from there, we were puzzled out, we were painted out.
Mm-hmm.
So
being silly, let's play hide and seek, which we have played before. Like, I don't know if you've opened the door on the top of the stairwell, like he and I have hidden in there before, like just having fun and enjoying each other's company.
Okay.
So, I mean, that's literally all it was. And then the suitcase is downstairs because I was telling you we were getting ready to do donations. And because it's not a very good suitcase, what was the question? I'm sorry.
You were just explaining to me the night.
Oh, he decided to hide in.
Suddenly, when the suitcase gets brought up, she starts tripping over her story. Any which way that she says he got in the suitcase or how he ended up in there, I will never believe.
There. So, being silly, he and I were sitting there laughing at it, like with him in there. And then, so I didn't zip it up all the way, but I mean, enough to where his little fingers were out there and whatever, but still having a good time and whatever. Then I guess I decided to go upstairs, and I don't know, I fell asleep. So I woke up this morning and again thought he was downstairs on the laptop looking for a job, as he usually is. And then thought, where is he? Is he on the back porch? Is he in the bathroom? Like, where is he? And then I came to about the suitcase. So
Why would she be so confused about where he was? You left him in the suitcase. Last time you saw him, he was zipped in his suitcase saying he couldn't get out and he couldn't breathe. So it's just, and like you said, she never mentioned that she hit his fingers with the baseball bat. So the story has just evolved so many different ways.
I opened the suitcase. I took him out, stretched him out, started to do CPR. Where air.
And we all are on the same page. None of us really believe that she actually attempted CPR. And if you hear the 911 call that we've listened to, it just doesn't sound like a real CPR 911 call.
Air was coming out, but, and then like whatever gurgle. So I'm trying to do CPR on him.
Innovation.
I'm shaking him, trying to get him to come to, but I could tell by looking at him, something was wrong. He's been losing his teeth lately and has been complaining about his chest hurts, which is why I keep trying to get him to go to the doctor, but because he nor I have a job or insurance, has been putting it off. So again, so I didn't know what to do, so I called Brian, my ex-husband. I called him, he came over, just walked in and then walked out.
Calls her ex-husband and says, I'm doing CPR on George and he's not waking up. He's blue in the face and purple. Ex-husband walks in and then walks out. And then remember, she gets on the 911 call and she's telling them to hurry. So now all of a sudden you're in a hurry and you need this expedited and this an emergency to be taken care of, but you called your ex first?
I grabbed my phone and I called you guys. From there, here we are.
Okay. The first time you woke up this morning, did you look at your phone to see what time it was?
No. Okay. Most of the time, like, I'll wake up, but because he nor I have a job, I'll usually just lay in the bed for a little bit longer because the house is clean. There's nothing else that we can do. Me thinking he's on the laptop looking for jobs, I can't use the laptop. So most of the time I'll just stay in the bed and collect my thoughts and get ready for the day.
So do you have any idea what time you woke up that first time? What time it may have been? I don't know if you guys have.
I'm gonna say 11 something. 11 something.
Okay.
Maybe.
Is that when you finally got up, or is that the first time you woke up?
No, that's the time that I decided to get up because I figured he was downstairs on the laptop. So let him look for jobs on the laptop, and then it usually I'll clean, he'll look for jobs, or vice versa, where I'll look for jobs and he'll clean.
Okay. So you think you got out of bed after 11 at some point?
Yes.
Okay.
I swear she says noon that she got up and out of bed in another interview. Guys, help me iron out that little timeline too. But hello, Valerie, and thank you for being a member for 32 months. That's awesome. Thank you very much. I appreciate you moderating and always being in chat when you can. I know you work a lot.
But we can't recall which time. Do you think you were up for like hours before that, or collecting your thoughts?
Brian, because I was supposed to have my son today to pick him up from school. Brian usually calls to make sure, hey, are you sure you're getting Lucas today? Because I've had job interviews.
Right.
Are you going to pick up Lucas? So after he called like maybe 3-4 times, maybe 5, I finally answered, and that's like.
Do you think you were sleeping and missed those calls?
No, I ignored them.
You ignored them
because he's notorious for blowing up my phone.
Okay.
But I understand why, because he's making sure that Lucas gets home.
Right. Yeah. Okay.
And to do whatever he needs to do day-wise so he can schedule around it.
Were you upstairs in your room at that time when you were ignoring those phone calls?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So not really sure what time you woke up initially, but you were upstairs collecting your thoughts. You figured he was on the laptop downstairs, so you were just getting ready for your day.
Yes.
You finally got out of bed at sometime after 11 a.m. And had gone downstairs.
Yes.
Okay.
Looking for him, and
couldn't find him. You looked outside, couldn't find him anywhere.
He wasn't in the bathroom. I was thinking maybe he's in the bathroom. But then I came to and
then
remembered the suitcase.
And then you called Brian.
Yes. He
told
came
him
over.
To come over.
Yes, he came over.
He lives down the road, right? Not very far. He came over, walked in, basically walked out. You called 911.
Yes, I had my phone in my hand. I just wanted to wait for him to get there because I didn't know what to do.
Right. Okay. And then we arrived.
Like I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know what happened, but like my whole thing is.
She doesn't know what happened, even though he was telling her what was happening. I can't breathe.
The whole like teeth losing thing, and I don't know what happened. Like, I don't know what happened. I don't know what he and I were having an amazing time yesterday, like we normally do.
No arguments. No nothing. Okay.
And the thing with him though is, which is why we've been doing puzzles and artwork lately, is that he's been stressing about a job, of course.
Of course.
Which we've talked about. So what I did was start.
Number 97.
So what I did was start having him do puzzles and artwork to keep his mind off of it.
Okay.
His ex-wife is all over him about sending money, which he can't do because he doesn't have a job.
Right.
So he was stressing about that. He's been stressing about the job. But that's why I started to buy puzzles and paint to get his mind off of them, which is what I don't know if you noticed on the wall in there, it's all of our artwork and stuff.
Okay.
So I don't know. I mean, music, art, and playing with the dogs, dancing around the room with the dogs. And then decided to play hide and seek. Because we're always trying to outdo each other on where we can hide the best.
Makes no sense. Trying to outdo each other. How did he zip it up in there? So who can hide the best, but you helped him zip it? You're making no sense. Martine, I believe she had just gotten a job. I'm not sure where, but I'm pretty sure she mentioned something about like her new job or something. Thank you so much, Hazel Eyes. I pray George gets the justice he deserves. I agree. And I seen Carolina and others join chat. Thank you guys for being here. Appreciate it very much. Okay, let's get back to this.
How often do you guys play hide and seek?
Gosh, that was maybe the third time? Maybe.
Okay. Is it a more recent game you've gotten into, or 3 times the total in your relationship you're talking about?
Lately.
Lately.
Because again, like, we were puzzled out. But we painted already, so why not?
So you were downstairs hanging out. Do you remember around what time you guys started playing hide and seek?
Honestly, I don't.
Do you remember if it was dark out?
Yeah, it was dark.
Okay.
It was dark. But my thing is like, when I spend time with him and I tried to get him to start doing it, I don't look at the clock.
Okay.
I'm here with him and we're having a good time. I don't need to know what time it is.
Right. I didn't know if you were like on your phone, if you got a text message, if you got a phone call last night.
We called his daughters yesterday, FaceTime.
Right. What time was that at?
I don't know without looking at my phone.
Okay.
But ended up.
Would that be the only activity that you had yesterday on your phone?
I called Lucas. I talked to Lucas. He's my son.
Okay.
I always call him.
Morning?
No, it was evening.
Evening? Okay.
But
I'm just trying to help you, remember something you did right before hide and seek that would help you remember a time or give us a good time frame, because that's important for us to know.
Right. When did this hide and seek game start? And then how long was he in there before you went to bed? Jacqueline says she probably bet him he wouldn't fit and double dog dared him. I've heard that theory as well. I'm wondering if he maybe passed out on the couch from drinking. She lays the suitcase open next to the couch, pushes him in, zips it, and pushes him down the stairs. But again, I don't know. I'm open to all theories,
You want to be able to tell the doctors that?
I don't know, to be honest with you.
Okay. So when you called Lucas, was it before or after hide and seek?
Before.
Okay. And when you called and FaceTime his daughters, before or after hide and seek?
Before.
Okay. And did you call the daughters first and then Lucas, or Lucas first and then the daughters?
I know I talked to Lucas, but then we talked to the daughters afterwards.
Okay. Okay.
And I don't remember if she called us. No, I know he called Cookie. But yes, we called her.
What are the 2 daughters' names? Or just one? Did you say one
he
daughter?
He has
or
3
2?
children. It's Anna, Cookie, what her real name is Destiny. And then he has a handicapped son, Georgie.
Okay. Who did you call though yesterday? Who did he call?
Cookie.
And what is Cookie's real name?
Destiny.
Does she have his last name or something else?
It's Torres. Because she remarried, but I don't know her last name.
Okay. Okay, so you know it's dark out, but you're not really sure what time it is. You play hide and seek. How long do you guys play hide and seek before he decides to get into the suitcase?
Oof. Wasn't
approximate.
Wasn't really. I hid upstairs in the shower.
Mm-hmm.
And then came downstairs because I was tired of hanging out in the shower.
Okay.
So that's when he was playing around in the suitcase. So
BS.
Okay.
Because we both thought it was funny that, oh yeah, well, I'm going to zip you up. Uh-huh. You didn't come look for me. So again, it's a broken suitcase, but
what do you mean by broken?
It's only got one of these. But because I didn't zip it up all the way, he was doing the
You mean it doesn't have like the pull part?
Correct.
That is a good theory, KPM, and highly probable. I think he was packing to leave her. And isn't it funny how she's like, we were getting along that day. We had a really good day. Of course you did. In all these true crime stories, they always end up saying that. There was no arguments. Sebastian Rogers, the missing teen whose number, if you have any information, is scrolling along the bottom. His mother said that. Summer Wells, I believe, talked about them having a great day that day that she went missing. And Madeline Soto. Her mother mentions that they were not, arguing for a while. And hello, Melanie. Good to see you. Have you seen what was in the suitcase? Maybe. It's been a while. Can you refresh my memory? And I'll pull your comment up.
Okay, but
I think it's got a, what do you call it? A paper clip.
Okay. So the zipper to it is missing, like the actual zipper that attaches to it to help you open and close is missing, but you think a paper clip was on it instead?
I believe there's a paper clip on it because I know that the last
that's
time.
What you used to like help assist you?
Well, or you can just stick your fingers in there and
right, yeah, you
unzip
could do
it yourself, which is why I did not zip it up all the way.
Okay. So how much did you zip it up?
I mean, I don't really know.
You said his fingers were able to stick out?
Yeah, two fingers.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm figuring he'll get it. He'll get it. But then I wanted to go upstairs and waited for him, and eventually I guess I fell asleep. I had the dogs in the bed with me, was warm, and then fell asleep.
So you guys are joking. He's in there. You said you could see two of his fingers?
Yes.
And then like you just decided, okay, I'm going to go upstairs now? Or
because I figured he would get out and then go upstairs and have intimate relations like we normally do.
Mm-hmm.
But I fell asleep.
Okay.
And he never came upstairs. So again, I'm thinking he's downstairs on the laptop.
This is the first time that she's mentioned how she had thought that they were going to have sex that night, like they usually do. And hello, Holly. Good to see you. Roro, everyone who's joined. So diazepam syringe prescribed to him, blood tie and cap, tie, some clothes, canvas, and paperwork and papers. Sounds like he was grabbing stuff and leaving. I guess she fell asleep. Tony says, I think she planned things out. Oh, and his phone. Wow. That's so sad that his phone was in there with him and he couldn't access it. Thank you, Jay, for gifting, and welcome to those 5 members. Appreciate you. Jay's in chat if you guys got one, if you want to give him a shout out. Yes, welcome to the new members. What was he supposed to stick his tool out the opening of the case for the relations? Right. How did you think he was going to make it upstairs? He can't breathe, but now you want him to put in some cardio. Okay.
Earlier today. Okay. And then remembered.
Okay. So is this something that do you guys play hide and seek before you have sexual intercourse, or do you guys just play hide and seek because you're bored and you're just trying to pass time and it's fun?
We were again puzzled out, can't paint anymore. Even started to purge some of the art that's on the wall now. So
apparently that's all this one had. Is there more to that, guys, who have heard this? This says this is a full rare interview. Did they redact that information? Or is that how it drops off? Yeah, I never knew hiding in a suitcase was considered foreplay. And it makes no sense. She's like, we were all puzzled out. Why did you even start the puzzle? Why didn't you just go into bed with each other? Just looking at your guys' comments. Oh my God, that lady is ridiculous. I know. Arts and crafts is over. Time for intimate relations. Is she Mr. Rogers? Cringe. I don't get it. You're drinking wine, you would think that would end up being one of the first things you were doing together, and then you unwind with, oh, let's do some puzzles. It's just not making sense, any of it. You guys know that. And now it's come out that she's admitted to hitting him with a bat in the hands. And the bigger puzzle developed of what the heck even happened. Exactly. Yeah, why didn't they just watch YouTube instead of arts and crafts? Exactly. Yeah, maybe she said, let's see if I can pull you around in the suitcase. I don't understand it. I really don't. Everyone always asks when we talk about this case, how did he get in there? The whole dare thing, like were they playing truth or dare? Not hide and seek? Doesn't that kind of make more sense? But guys, let's see what else I can pull up quick. We kind of went through all the updates in the beginning. So we listened to that car audio. Hold on, let me see. I'm just looking to see if there's another one out there longer than 18 minutes. Okay, there's one that's somebody's commentary, not trying to do that. I will have to do some digging if I find something longer. We can always play that in the future. I think there was one more Court TV segment regarding these updates that I hadn't watched yet. Give me a second. We can play that. And then I'm going to call it a night, guys. I'm just got like 2 weeks left and it's rough. It's very rough. No, I think we are actually all caught up. Hold on. Let's see this one.
The problem is I fell asleep. I fell asleep.
When did you do CPR?
This morning when I found it.
Before you called?
Yes.
It's 1 o'clock right now.
I tried. I was awake, but I actually got out of the bed at like 12:30ish, whatever.
Aha, and there it is. We just heard her tell the other officer in that car interview that she got up and out of bed at 11 something. And I said, wait a minute, I swear she told another officer it was 12:30. Yeah. So come on now. It's changed so many times. Come on.
So I came downstairs and I was like, oh, he's in the suitcase still.
The body camera video of Sarah Boone, if you look closely, you can see the date of that. This is, the morning that 911 is called and Orange County Sheriff's respond. It was 2/24/2020. Now, finally, Monday, attorney number 9 will be representing her and the trial will begin right here on Court TV. Now, we've got an update because Sarah Boone made some motions, pretrial motions with her new attorney prior to the beginning of this trial. Let's go through some of them. First, she had a request to have her hair done. And yes, that's a check. Yes, you can have your hair done, Sarah Boone, at trial. Request to wear civilian clothes. Check. You will get to wear your civilian clothes. Okay, request to have her makeup done. Not happening. They had to draw the line somewhere. It seems like corrections had a little problem with that. Can't have it done. So she'll have her hair done, but she's not going to have the professional makeup artist come in. Request to have shackles and restraints removed during the trial. Yes, that would be prejudicial. And finally, this is the big one, folks. Request to have her interrogation video suppressed, kept out of evidence. It's coming in. It is coming in, folks. The interrogation video where she makes a lot of statements. She's all over the place, and in statements that may be considered inconsistent with the defense in this case. So Sarah Boone was on the stand on Wednesday for this pretrial motion here, discussing her mindset going into the police interrogation that she wanted tossed out of the case.
I was in shock. I was traumatized by the situation, and then trying to focus on everything that was going on at my home. I was hungover. I was still, I believe, intoxicated to a degree.
Well, the one thing, I mean, this is the first time I've seen her speak, and she seems relatively, like normal, right? She doesn't seem like something's off there, which may help her at trial. I took that away, but the explanation the judge wasn't necessarily buying as a basis to suppress it, so it's coming in. So I want to play for you some moments from that interrogation that the prosecution may want to use and the defense may not want the jury to consider.
But why is he saying I can't breathe, and why is he pushing on it as if he can't get out?
It doesn't show a hole.
There's no hole. There's no fingers. I don't see his fingers. There's no hole.
I don't know what you want me to tell you. Like, I don't know. Like, what you want me to tell you?
I'm just showing you. I'm just telling you what we see and what we've heard from the other video.
I understand.
He's begging for you to let him out. You're laughing in the beginning, and then in the end, it sounds kind of like a
no. It's not malicious.
Well, saying
it's not malicious.
Then what is that?
What does mean to you?
Well,
so it goes from funny to no longer funny. But you're the only one laughing.
But I didn't think that he was like panicky. Like
so pushing up on a suitcase saying Sarah, Sarah, Sarah. I can't breathe.
George has done that in the past before too, where it's just like he thinks that he's woe with me kind of thing, where it's like
he's never been locked in a suitcase, so he couldn't get out. So
it's kind of, I thought it was crying wolf kind of thing. Okay. And again, my plan.
But nowhere in there is he laughing. Is he joking?
The way that she says George has done that too in the past, it's like she's like trying to say he did it to me first. It's like he's dead. Holy cow. And that Prince Valiant haircut. Is that the guy in Shrek?
He is begging, and you're the only one laughing.
Okay.
And you're the only one saying derogatory comments, like you're mad.
No. Please don't, I don't mean to sound negative, and I don't know if I can say this, but like it's like you guys are kind of trying to like feed me. Like,
no, I'm just trying to show you a video that you no longer want to watch because you probably don't want to know the outcome of how and what you said.
Well, I know what.
You know what's on that video now?
No.
You remember making that video?
No.
Why don't you remember making the video?
Probably because we had been drinking.
But you weren't drunk.
No. Just because I went upstairs and just because you're drunk doesn't mean that you.
Times that you were not drunk.
It is sort of like Lord Farquaad too, isn't it? Her hair. Hold on, let me look him up while we play this.
You said that you had your wits about you. You said he had his wits about you.
Mm-hmm.
You said that you don't like not having your wits. In my experience, if somebody cannot remember doing something to the extent of making 2 videos and taking a photo, they are intoxicated.
Okay. My plan was not to go upstairs and go to sleep. My plan was not to, he'll be up here any minute.
But you willingly went upstairs and went to sleep. No one forced you to go upstairs and
my plan was also to leave him in the suitcase.
So why didn't you take him out?
Because I went upstairs and then I fell asleep.
Okay, her defense.
hold on, just real quick. Before the arrest, I sort of see the hair like this. I don't know. I thought that's who you meant.
Now is battered spouse syndrome, self-defense. That's where the case is going. That's where the focus of the defense will be. Paulette Lofton, how much of a problem is this 2-hour interrogation, pieces like this? Does it fit with the defense, or does it become a problem for her?
I don't think it fits at all. So I think it's a large problem that those interrogations are going to be played for the jury. It's clear if we believe the facts as she presents them in those.
I just have to say, because we're on the subject, I seen in a group, a Facebook group about true crime, somebody said that she looks like Alice from, what's it, the Brady Bunch. And that, as soon as I heard that, I couldn't unsee it. I was like, wait, what? Hold on. You guys let me know what you think. I don't know. I kind of see it. I'm sorry, Alice. So sorry.
Interviews, she at least had the upper hand at some point. She had him in a suitcase. He was unable to get out of the suitcase himself. He's begging her for help. And she took it upon herself to not call the police and tell them, I'm finally done taking him back. This is the abuse I've been suffering. She went upstairs and went to sleep. It's clear that she's also making inconsistent statements, whether she was intoxicated or she wasn't intoxicated. I think that interview is really going to hurt her. I agree with you. I think she did present well in that hearing that they had earlier this week. And she seems to be calm and listen to the questions and answer them appropriately. But I think the jury's probably going to give a lot of weight to those interviews in the first hours after she calls 911.
I agree. Ben, the video is so powerful because you can hear George Torres suffering. Like any human hears what he's saying. You're like, this is a man obviously in distress. And she's not really acknowledging that. She literally said, he's always like, woe is me. George is dead. I mean, he suffered a horrible death. And afterwards, she's saying, he's always going, woe is me. That's a bad look.
Yeah, it's horrific. And just even the visual image of the suitcase and imagining somebody in that tiny area, it must have been torture for him. I think I agree with Paulette. I think it's absolutely damning and completely.
And that's the thing. Say we never got the video of him begging for her help. Just the image of and the idea looking at a suitcase. I mean, you don't even have to be claustrophobic to kind of be like, wow, that must have been horrible.
Inconsistent with battered spouse syndrome.
So Bernarda, and one thing that the attorney James Owens has said is, and he said it in court, he said it on the show, that I think a lot of focus will be about what happened before he got in the suitcase, and then also what happens before the video camera begins recording. I don't know what it's going to be, but it's got to come from her mouth, right? She has to testify in this. I don't see any way to attempt to make a case without her testifying.
Absolutely. So Sarah Boone does plan to present this defense of battered woman syndrome or self-defense. She's going to have to take the stand. So the big issue for her is, number one, is that she gave prior statements. She has the videotape statement. She has the statement from when the officers first encounter her. So she's going to be confronted with both of those statements and then what story she's going to give while on the stand. So if you look at all three of them, right there, you have a lot of inconsistencies. And when you're trying to evaluate credibility, one of the main factors that you look at is are there any inconsistencies? Has she said this story before? Did she first report it when she had the first opportunity, for example, when the officers first came to her, and they're going to find that she did not. I don't think she comes off also as likable. And also, one thing that does work in her favor, though, Vinny, is that the prosecutors don't have exactly what happened beforehand. The only two people that can say what happened beforehand is Sarah Boone and the person who is dead. And now that person's dead, so they can't speak.
Paulette, the expert really has to.
If she takes the stand, she's done. Because we've already caught her story changing numerous times just tonight. I know there's other live streams on this case where we've been like, wait a minute, she said this. So, you know, the prosecution would rip her apart. Jury's not going to like her for one. But I really think she's stupid enough to think that she can handle it.
A defense expert has to explain to the jury all of her behavior afterwards, right? That's the only way to try to reconcile it, because I think if regular folks who haven't studied this syndrome and don't know anything about it will just look at her and then listen to George in the suitcase, and you know, we're gonna believe that this whole thing is made up unless an expert can somehow explain why she would be like she was in the video, on the body camera video, and in the interrogation room.
I agree. Battered spouse syndrome is absolutely something that is real and can be proved. So yes, I think this is going to really turn into a battle of the experts. The experts will be able to explain to the jury that her behavior is either common or not common with someone who is actually suffering from the syndrome, and why she may not act like you would think you would act in a similar situation. So it is something that is possible. It is something that is proven to juries. But I think those videos are really going to come back to haunt her. And I think whatever the expert says, I think the jury is going to put a lot of weight in those first interviews that she did.
Big thank you, Paulette Lofton, Bernardo Villalona, Ben Chu. Appreciate it. Have a great weekend. When we come back, I will reveal something else you need to know, plus coming up next hour.
Tonight on Vinnie Politan Investigates, a wife and mother is stabbed to death and a man responding to a BDS.
Up next, only on Birds, and in as much
murder. This is a case you need to hear. 3 young children. The woman next to him, that's the one accused of his.
All right, so that was the end of the segment about Sarah Boone there. We kind of got caught up on everything. Melly says, wasted money, in my opinion. We see the video and she has been playing her games with attorneys long enough. And now she's going to drag poor George's family through this trial. She turns down this plea deal that could have, you know, at least saved his family from having to hear from the medical examiner, having to hear from the officers who responded on scene. They're going to go into detail about their son, brother, father, all that, uncle. You know, it's very selfish of her, but what do you expect, really, right? Yeah, the plea deal was exceedingly generous. Tomorrow night, we will do another live stream around 8 o'clock. I think so too. She said, Valerie said, I totally think she'll take the stand. Who thinks that she'll take the stand? Press 1 in chat. Who thinks that she will not? You know, just press 2. But yeah, while you guys are putting that through chat, we will talk tomorrow night at 8. Would love to do a Wade Wilson live stream. We are kind of starting our little deep dive into him, and I kind of like to go peel the onion back slowly when I look into cases. And I kind of wanted to go through stuff from his father as well, like we did last week. 1, 1, 1, 1, 1. Lots of ones, guys. All right, so maybe we can do Wade Wilson tomorrow night. Obviously, Thursday is our Chris Watts deep dive live stream. We have been doing Gypsy Rose, and we kind of started to go over her interrogation again last Friday. So we're going to kind of pick up on that part 2 this Friday. So I'm going to see what's going on tomorrow. I know Melissa Jade covers Wade Wilson, and we kind of both can only go live in the evenings. So I'd rather not pick the same topic as her. So I'll have to converse with her and figure it out. But either way, I hope I can see you guys tomorrow night around 8. And we can discuss a true crime case for sure. Thank you, Debbie Fox, and all the moderators, Melanie, Roxanne. You guys know who you are. There's a lot of them. Jay, Scottish Queen, Johnny, of course. The list goes on. I really appreciate you guys. Pointer Lover, and those who gifted memberships. Thank you so much, Melly, Jay, and the super chats as well, guys. Even if you just hit that like button, it's greatly appreciated. It helps the channel out a lot. And yeah, I will see you guys tomorrow night, Adrian, of course. and Tony, you're always here with good insight. Just appreciate you guys all. So I'll see you tomorrow night. Bye.